The whole community was concerned about what was going to happen to that building. It's a beautiful old building. And what was going to happen to the theater. Because if it had gone under, there wouldn't have been a theater left in Wilmette. And Wilmette has never liked that idea. So fortunately for everybody in Wilmette, Carol Debo came along and bought the theater. And Carol had a real vision for that theater and its role in the community.
There was a historic theater in our downtown area that was being sold, and it had a buyer that was going to renovate it into a furniture store. So the philanthropic side of me sort of took over and said, how can you let this happen? And we rushed in and we bought it. And the honest truth of this matter is, the night that we closed on it, we walked into this theater with our keys and went, oh my God, we just bought a movie theater. What happens is you book a movie and you negotiate the terms and you decide what percentage of the box office does the distributor get and what percentage of the box office does the movie theater get. The more mainstream, like a Harry Potter, the distributor will take 75% and the theater takes 25%, which is why the candy counter is so important to movie theaters, which is why you never want to sneak in your own candy and popcorn, because that really is what keeps your movie theaters open. And people complain about the price of popcorn, but it's because their take of the box office sometimes is so low, it's not enough to keep the business open. The film on 35 millimeter comes in this can that weighs a lot. And the film has to be put together and put on the platters and spliced together. Some old movie theaters are on reels. We work on a platter system. After it's been through several theaters, there can be damages to the print, other splices weren't cut well, so you have to have a good projectionist that can put that film together. We are moving away from showing movies 7 days a week, because what we have found is we start to analyze who our customer base is. And with any business, it's important to really look at who your customer is and how they're using your business. They're coming on a Thursday through Sunday basis. So what we're starting to do is pare down when we have screenings and push it more towards the weekend, which is when our movie customer seems to be coming. We're not shying away from it, we're just trying to consolidate it. The problem with the movies going digital is that it costs about $50,000 minimum to make a theater DCI compliant or digital. If you're a large multiplex and you're doing that across the board, you can amortize your cost for that. If you're a tiny little independent theater, it's crippling. We hope to go digital, and we're hoping that the community, now that the theater is a not-for-profit, and that we can raise money through the community to go digital in the very, very near future.
Part of the sense of ownership that people in a community like Wilmette feel about a movie theater like the Wilmette Theatre is the physical manifestation of that building in the center of town. I mean, that area right down there at Wilmette and Central is sort of the spiritual center of Wilmette. And people feel very strongly about that little downtown. It hasn't changed very much. And one reason it hasn't changed very much over the past 100 years is that people like what they're used to. And they like the things that they feel strongly about are part of their community. The Wilmette Theatre and that marquee with the big W on it is part and parcel of that feeling.
Across the country, these small theaters really hold together their communities. And without it, you wouldn't have all these restaurants that are opening. Since we purchased the theater in 2006, 5 new restaurants have opened, and there's more restaurants opening. So the theater is incredibly important to the economic growth and development of Wilmette. But you can't be all things to all people. And the older customers that were coming here for years and years didn't like what we were doing, and the new customers wanted something else. And every day is a new day where you're peeling back the covers saying, okay, well, what works? Now we're hitting a new era. found out was that the movie business was not what it used to be in these independent theaters. We found this out after we'd bought it. So while the romantic side of us swooped in and bought this theater, all of a sudden we had to make the numbers work. So we built a stage and we started having concerts and we started doing film festivals and we opened up the acting school and we would put things on the front burner and see what boiled, and if it didn't, we put it on the back burner. And it really was trial by fire. We've served younger patrons with our kids' concert. We've served older patrons with daytime programming. We've served acting students. We've made this a multi-use facility, which is how the building really has been saved. We have everything. We have a nationally known acting school on the second floor that has a reputation from New York through LA. Casting directors call on a weekly basis when they're looking to cast something. We have many kids from the acting school that are now working professionally in New York and LA, some that are actually quite famous that have come right out of the school. That has been a huge part of the revenue source for this historic Wilmette Theatre. We have kids' concerts on Saturday mornings, which with amazing talent, and parents bring their kids in, get them away from the TV, get them away from their Wii systems, and they sit here and they enjoy live music with their kids. We have nighttime concerts. Obviously, we have our movies. We have comedy. So we use the building in probably the most creative ways that anybody's ever used a historic theater. I don't find it sad that it isn't what it once was. I find it exhilarating that it is still here and that the building is here and has had new life breathed into it. I think it would be sad if this building was torn down and if we walked by this building and the windows were boarded up. That is sad. The fact that there is art being created in these walls, that there are kids every night singing and dancing and learning on the second floor, that there are little kids on Saturday mornings dancing in the aisles to bands up on the stage, it's not sad at all. I think it's exhilarating and appropriate and wonderful.